So somewhere along the line, you may have heard the quote that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And thought to yourself, like, oh man, I'm just over here with my day job. How am I ever going to achieve that? Well, today, first, I want to go into that and actually debunk that theory. And then second, as a reward for you listening to me yap, I'm actually going to give you 7 different streams of income that you can add to what you're doing now so that you can start compounding your income. You have maybe heard that quote at some point in your life and thought, is that true? Does the average millionaire really have 7 different streams of income? I had the same thought, and so I actually dove in and did the research. And so it turns out, short answer, it's not true. The longer answer, kind of interesting. This is a misrepresented IRS study from 2014. They ended up looking at about 6,000 different people who had died between 1996 and 2002. There was about 6,000 people in this study, and they wanted to know effectively, can you determine people's wealth based on their waged income? Okay, so can you look at their 1040 tax returns, be able to readily determine, yes, based on this income, this is a predictor of this is how much wealth they have. And there was other filing information in there as well. About half of these people exceeded the limit for requiring a tax form 706, which, to paraphrase that, is just related to estate taxes, seeing if you need to pay that. The limit for you to do that in 2025 is going to be, 13.99 million. So these are high wealth individuals. And like I said, basically they wanted to determine, can I use waged income as an accurate predictor of total wealth? And the answer was no, they can't. Basically what they had found was that people that died with higher wealth were more likely to be pulling income from other sources of income beyond just their waged income. And so I can put a link to the study in the description if you want, but effectively they had found that these people were pulling from, of course, wages, their earned income. They were looking at dividends, so stocks paying out dividends, which of course you need capital to invest in. Rental properties, you're either owning properties that people live in or work in and then collecting rent based on that. Business profits, so they either owned a business themselves or they invested in a business and they were collecting revenue from that. Royalties, which is going to be money collected from intellectual property. I have to imagine that doesn't fit many people out there today. Capital gains, this is profits from selling stocks, selling real estate, just income on things that you've sold, and collecting interest. So there are other studies that have also shown that most millionaires are earning from 3 or 4 different sources of income. You can take Tom Corley, who did a 5-year study on wealthy individuals and wrote a book called Rich Habits. He found that 65% of these high wealth earners were pulling just from 3 sources of income. About 45% of these people had 4 streams of income, and only 29% of them had 5 or more streams of income. So as you can see, the average is not 7. It's nowhere near 7. So these high wealth individuals would likely have found something that they were strong at, and they were really focusing on monetizing in that lane. They were staying in their lane and really developing the skills needed to earn there. So yes, maybe they branched out into several different sources of income, but they probably didn't stray too far from the original tree, right? Let's be honest. Consistently chasing different streams of income is probably going to lead to sloppy work, right? If you're trying to rapidly diversify yourself, getting into a lot of different fields that you don't know a lot about, and you're just trying to throw paint at the wall, chances are you're not going to do as good a work as if you had just sat down, really sharpened your tools, focused, and worked on maybe 1, 2 things at a time and really developed your skills there. I remember hearing the advice when I was growing up to follow your dreams. And I'm sure many of us heard that. As I've gotten older, I don't know if I really agree with that advice. And I think I would reframe that to follow your skills. These can inherently be skills that you have, just your natural aptitudes. Maybe you are just naturally inclined to be, a designer, getting into graphic design or artistic things. Maybe you're really good at shape recognition and you want to get into architecture or construction, things like that. You may just really like grinding numbers and you want to get into mathematics and you want to do anything related to finance, things like that. Or it could be that you went into a course, a learning path, and you skilled up. So you got an accreditation, a certification, you learned a new skill and then really focused all of your time and energy there. Either one of these, I think that if you stick with what you know, there's a better chance that your income is going to grow. And that's a rhyme, and I didn't mean for it to be. Nice. If I were to reword that in maybe a slightly more eloquent way, I would say that the further you get away from your primary expertise, the more likely you are to lose money. And that could be in stock investment, that could be in business development, that could be just in your profession, right? Your day-to-day job. So you're hearing me say this and you're thinking, okay, at this point, you may be watching and thinking, so what does this mean for me? And that's a great question. So my simple takeaways from this are going to be the following 3 points. Number 1, most people start making money from their day job. Okay. Day jobs are not bad. They are not inherently evil. I know it's very trendy and topical for people online to say like, oh, your day job is awful. Get away from it. Be an entrepreneur. I think if you find something that you like, you're good at it, it pays the bills, you feel fulfilled at the end of the day, I wouldn't throw that in the trash. Like if you truly enjoy what you do during the day, build from there. But if you don't like your day job and you are thinking, you know what, like I don't feel rewarded at the end of the day and I want to try something new, I actually do have an entire course for people that are looking to change their career paths. I think there's many different excellent ways to make money out there. Me personally, I think that getting into tech is the best way for many people to be doing that. And so I'll put a link in the description of this video for access to that course. So number 1 is going to be making money from your day job. Number 2, diversification is possible. So think about this. Remember those 7 income sources that I had listed before that millionaires allegedly have? I don't think you need to pursue 7 different income streams, but here's how you can realistically set yourself up so that you can be taking advantage of 4 in the not too distant future. So you could be making money from your 9 to 5, making responsible decisions with your money, obviously living below your means. You want to have money that you can start saving up. Okay. This is you making money from wages. So there's source number 1. Number 2, if you are making these responsible decisions, you can then start taking that money and you can start investing that into stocks. Now, this is a scenario where I wouldn't put all of my money into one basket. I'd want to be spreading that out and diversifying it amongst a couple different stocks, ETFs, things that you can collect both capital gains and dividend interest from. So we talked about those being streams from earlier, right? So as the value of stocks appreciate, you can look at capital gains interest when you sell those stocks off. But you also have a large collection of stocks and ETFs, collections of stocks effectively, that are able to pay you out dividends. Kind of depends on how you want to balance your portfolio. I am not a financial advisor, but these are ways that you can capture growth in the market, but then also be generating income from yourself. So that would be 2 and 3. And then the 4th one would be start investing in a side business. Okay, so with the money that you're making and saving, definitely recommend getting yourself into an interest that you can compound your income with. And even if you inherently don't think of yourself as a business person, I promise you, you probably have more capability than you think. You don't need to get into business and immediately be a Fortune 500 leader or something like that, or getting into a hedge fund. But like we discussed earlier, many high wealth individuals have income coming from a business. And so we should start to look at setting ourselves up for a similar level of success by following a similar path. There are many different ways to approach starting a side business. And so as we debunk the original statement of the average millionaire having 7 streams of income, let's go over 7 businesses that you could be looking at to earn extra income and maybe even scale up to a 6-figure income that you could eventually replace that day job of yours at. I do want to have a caveat here. Okay, let's get one thing straight. This is not passive income. And again, that's everyone seems to be chasing that online today. That term gets thrown around all too often in the YouTube sphere. But this is not about getting something for nothing. This is about investing your time, your money, your focus, your interest. It's about doing hard work once, get that upfront early work into it, and then build a system, build an asset that continues to pay you over and over again over time with minimal outgoing effort. Okay, that's how we should be setting ourselves up in a business capacity. So this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a get rich for life strategy. And I know this sounds a little cliched, but the goal here isn't just about money. It really is about freedom. Okay, it is the freedom to quit a job that you're not satisfied at. It is the freedom to travel when you want to. It is the freedom to either buy things that you want, physical items, or invest in assets, properties, businesses, whatever it is that you find interesting. It's the freedom to control your own time and your own life in the way that you see fit. So, that's the true power of you building a business up. And so with that focus in mind, we should take a look at what these options even are. So let's review these. And remember, I am not saying that you need to do all of these at once. In fact, I strongly encourage you against doing all of these at once. This should be giving you a good starting point to consider several different things. Maybe you end up trying them all. Sure, eventually, if you try a couple and you think, you know what, this isn't really my jam, this doesn't really stick with me, okay, fine, then you move on to the other thing. But be giving it a wholehearted focus. Be giving it a genuine dedication and see where that brings you on that path. So, get into there, build it up, scale it. And then, and only then, if you feel like I'm comfortable with that, I've put in the hard work and now I can kind of take my foot off the gas a little bit, then you can start looking at these other ones. So let's take a look at this list of 7 options that I have for you here. So first, we have affiliate marketing. This is where you're going to be promoting other people's products and services and earning a commission for doing so. So for every sale that you make, typically you're going to have a unique link. And so people would see you on whatever platform that you are promoting a service or a product on. You would recommend that to them. They would use your link, go and make that purchase or make that investment. And then because you were that middle person, you collect a percentage, and that's your affiliate commission. Because there is no actual product you need to hold on to, that's a pretty low cost way to get started on building up one of your first side businesses. Second is going to be digital products. And again, your inventory cost is really low because these are not physical assets. These are digital products. So this is you create something once. You could be making a guide in Canva. You could make an ebook. You could make a template. You could make some sort of presets for photos. Many different options that you could do there. And then you can sell that an infinite number of times. Okay, so again, it's put the money in there first, make the product, and then you can just sell it. You sell it again and again and again. You're not holding it in a warehouse. You don't have to remake this thing. No physical inventory. So the profit margins are incredibly high. Third one is going to be online courses. And so this is similar to a digital product, but if you have a skill or an expertise in anything, and this could be cooking, this could be working on cars, this could be gaming, this could be playing a musical instrument, whatever it might be, you can package that knowledge up and you can get it into a course and sell it to a global audience. You can attract people in that are interested in that thing that you have some level of expertise at, and you can just make money 24/7 on that. And a lot of people, when I talk about making a course, they will pause and they're like, I'm not a teacher, or like, I'm not a professional instructor, or even more simply, just, I don't have anything that people would want to know about. And I can almost guarantee that you probably do. There is something in your life that you, by the nature of your work or just your life experiences, you know more about that thing than other people do. And they would be willing to pay you for it. I promise you, this is more accessible than you think it might be. So don't knock that one just yet. Now, the fourth option is going to be membership sites. So this is also about building a community of people that are looking to learn things with a similar focus or interest. You would be forming this, there's a variety of sites that will host this sort of service. You would be providing exclusive content, resources, or just access to you and your knowledge. And you would open that up for a recurring monthly or annual fee. It creates predictable, stable income. This is a way you can take that, building a course, and you can just build this out a little bit differently. And it's like, I'm a knowledge base. Come and ask me anything. Fifth thing we would have would be print on demand or e-commerce. You could take this in a couple of different directions. But you would be designing things, t-shirts, mugs, posters, anything like that. I actually got into this a little while and I didn't really focus on it. Again, that was shame on me. I didn't follow my own advice. I was trying out many different things at once, being a little ADD about it. But I accidentally ended up making hundreds of dollars just by making, funny mugs, funny t-shirts, things that people would want to buy just as sort of a gag gift or something like that for other people. But you will be able to make designs. You can do this in Figma, you can do this in Canva, you can do this in whatever art platform that you want to use. You can get that into a third-party provider. In the instance of you doing this, let's say you were doing it on Etsy. You could hook up something like Printful or Printify. You can put designs in there and say, hey, I want this accessible on posters. I want this on mugs. I want this on t-shirts, whatever it may be. You can hook that up to an Etsy store. And then every time someone goes into that store and says, I want to buy this product, as soon as they click that button, once you've hooked everything up correctly, that service provider goes out and they actually print that thing and package it and ship it. They handle all the logistics. You're very hands off. and you're just collecting revenue once that purchase has been completed. It's actually really neat when you see all the pieces come together and you're like, oh, wow, that was fun. You can just create these designs and collect the profits. So number 6 would be starting a YouTube channel. So this is a great place for you to discuss things that you are interested in, things that you know things about. You can monetize your expertises or interests, much like you would have done if you had a course created or you were creating a membership site. So, these days you have more and more examples of people monetizing their knowledge online just by making engaging content. Okay, and this can be in a variety of different niches and subcategories. This is a great way for you to be going in and just expressing what you like to talk about. Many people misunderstand the ways that you can get paid for being on YouTube. And they will think, oh, I'm going to get money from the ads that YouTube puts on my video. And while, yes, you can make money that way, there are many different ways that you can monetize that platform. So you can be linking out to products, linking out to services, affiliate products that you don't own, or things that you built and you do own. This is a fantastic platform for you to actually be promoting those last 5 ideas that I just discussed. So if you think about it, you could be kind of double dipping on this one. I think it's a really great opportunity for a lot of people. You just need to be in front of a camera, right? Click record, start talking about things. Now, the 7th thing that I would have is real estate. This is the classic wealth builder. Now, obviously this one, kind of different from the other options that I talked about. You do need to have capital up front in order to invest and start getting into properties. These could be rental properties providing monthly cash flow, or even more accessible options. Like if you want to buy into a REIT, this is a real estate investment trust, you could have other people that are investing in properties, and you, as part of that REIT, you can collect a portion of those benefits. So that it lets you invest in property without actually being a landlord. A couple of different ways to go around that, but just being very transparent, this does require capital up front, so it will differ from the other ones. So yeah, now that we've covered those 7 options, I want to say this again. You do not need to do all of these, and I do not want you to be trying to focus on all 7 of these at the same time. You really shouldn't. The key is to choose what's going to fit your skills and your passions and start scaling from there. Most of the options that I listed, with the exception of real estate, are online. They require little or no startup cash, and you can get started on those today. So that means there's actually remarkably little friction for you getting that ball rolling and actually trying out one of these businesses today. But you're going to need a roadmap, and this is an easy way for you to get a path forward. Okay. So number 1, you're going to want to pick a niche. This is going to be a topic or area that you are passionate about and you have some sort of outstanding knowledge in. This could be fitness, this could be personal finance, cooking, gaming, anything that you want it to be. So your passion will be what fuels your consistency in there. Second thing you want to do is set up a platform. I recommend that you are going to be setting up one platform. This is going to be your home base on the internet. I wouldn't try to branch out into 3 or 4 or 5 right off the bat. I think that's going to lead to you not having as much focus, and for the quantity, you're going to be sacrificing quality, right? So, it could be TikTok, it could be YouTube, it could be Instagram. I don't really care what it is exceptionally, but just choose one platform and commit to it. And then the third thing is going to be creating valuable content. So don't just get in there and just try to sell. You don't want to be one of those robots, right? I want you to get in there and teach and entertain and provide value. Be set up as a knowledge source within that ecosystem, okay? Solve problems for your audience. Build trust. And if you're an affiliate marketer, naturally you want to be recommending the products that you're talking about, but you want to come off as genuine. You want to come off as authentic. If you're creating a digital product, your content will prove that you know what the hell you're talking about. And then the fourth thing you want to do is monetize, right? So you're going to be going through these steps, picking your niche, setting up on a platform, creating that valuable content, then you can monetize. So once your audience has trust in you, you can introduce your links or launch a digital product. That can be really rocket fuel for your business as it grows in revenue generation. But I wouldn't start right off the bat doing that. First, you want to establish yourself in that space as some sort of a subject matter expert. Okay. Now, this is where you get to the exciting part. You want to be scaling that business up, and maybe you can get that up into the 6 figures. We talked about, can your side business replace your 9 to 5? And it can. For many people, this is possible over time. This is where those small, consistent actions, they're going to end up snowballing, and your compounds are going to turn into that, that life-changing passive income, I would say. But again, that's sort of a non-truth. You're not going to make $100,000 overnight. Let's be honest. But if you put in consistent actions, consistent work, I think seeing results in 3 to 4 months is absolutely possible. Stretch that out to 12 months, and you can really have something going for yourself. So the secret is, like I said, compounding. And I'm not just talking like compounding money in the bank. I'm talking about compounding your audience, compounding your knowledge, compounding your authority. Okay. Every video, every post, every email that you're going to be putting over here is going to be creating a long-term digital asset that does work for you behind the scenes. You don't need to be online, fingers on the keyboard to make this thing work. Now, of course, the path to financial freedom does have its challenges. Building trust and credibility is, of course, going to take time. That's not going to be an overnight light switch that you just flipped on. You want to be transparent, and you want to avoid the mistakes that a lot of people make that derail them when they're first starting out down this path. First one is going to be over diversifying too soon. And I talked about that before when you're talking about choosing the platform that you're going to be building on. I would also say this is true about choosing the niche or the area of focus that you want to be building your business in. This shiny object syndrome can oftentimes kill momentum right in its tracks before you even start. So I really want you to master one income stream before you're adding another one. Really put the focus in. Mistake number 2 is going to be chasing trends instead of providing real value. Okay, so trends come and go, and you might be in an industry where that's valuable. If you're a gossip site or a news site or something like that, yes, you want to be on the breaking edge of whatever news is coming out. But many times, these trends are just going to fade out. Solving real problems, that is enduring. So if you can find an evergreen topic or a subject that people consistently, reliably come back to, and they're saying, oh, I want to learn about this, I need to get information about that, that's a much better business plan than chasing some sort of flashy trend. Okay, so if I were to give you my advice, I would be focusing on things that people continually are looking for help with. Something educational, something that's going to assist them in improving their life or answering a question that they seem to be asking often. And the third mistake is obviously going to be expecting overnight success. This is not a sprint. This is absolutely a marathon, okay? You are going to be facing quiet days. You are going to be facing self-doubt. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. And that's okay. You're going to encounter it. You're going to deal with it. You're going to move on. The difference between success and failure is oftentimes consistency. Showing up on the days where you're not at 100%. That's going to be okay, and you need to just continue to move forward and chase that momentum. You should be taking small, deliberate steps every single day and treating this like a business, which is what it is. This is not buying a lottery ticket. I don't care what the latest TikTok guru trend is, what they're telling you. You're going to be chasing the next infinite money glitch. I don't think that that's viable. That's not a path to success and satisfaction. Patience is going to be your greatest asset. When you're on that road to building a business and setting up something for yourself, you can't just expect the light switch to turn on. Okay, this is going to be a long road going, but you want to be putting in consistent steps, and it will pay out for you. We've covered a lot today, and well, of course, I do want you to stick around and watch more of my videos. It would mean the world to me if when you finish watching this video, instead of just flipping over and getting into another doom scroll, I actually want you to go out and take action. I want you to do something based on what we talked about today. If you are serious about building one of your side businesses, I want you to start doing some research on that. I want you to start getting informed on what does it take to get an affiliate link from a company. If I wanted to start a YouTube channel, it would be, what equipment am I going to need? What are the most profitable topics? Are there any in there that I have inherent knowledge in? Right? If you're going to be investing more money into stocks, obviously do your own research. Like I said, not a financial advisor, but think about one of the side businesses that you would want to work on and start taking meaningful steps down that path. And if you are in a position where you're looking to pursue a different career, like I said, I will have an entirely different video on that. I will put a link to that in the description below. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got value out of this, and I'll see you in the next one.